Hey guys, this is Jason with MuseGrid.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how to install Adobe Spark Pages and get your first page set up inside of your Adobe Muse website. So the first thing that we want to do is actually download and install the Adobe Spark Page widget. So if you're on MuseGrid.com and you've downloaded the widget from our website, you will have downloaded an Adobe Spark Page 2.0.mulib file. Once that's downloaded, and in my case it happens to be on my desktop, you're just going to simply double click on this file, and what will happen is we'll automatically install the Adobe Spark Page widget inside your widget library or inside your library inside of Adobe Muse, and it'll look exactly like this. Now, in order to install Adobe Spark Page widget, all you have to do is select Spark Page 2.0 and drag it out to your website. Now, by doing so, we'll just collapse down our library. By doing so, we've automatically included a Spark Page example that we just pulled from the Spark library, or the featured Sparks or posts, I guess, or pages, I'm sorry, and just included one in by default. Okay, this is a pretty nice, compelling one. Okay, so now that we have it in here, we'll open up our settings panel, and there are two things that you edit. The first is, of course, the Spark Page ID. Now, this is going to be the ID associated to your Spark page, as well as the embed type, so whether you want it to be Lightbox, inline, or full page. Now, before we swap out your page ID for the one that we have in here by default, let's just take a look at the three different embed options really quickly so that you can figure out which route you want to go. So the first one, and the one that we have selected by default, is of course Lightbox. So what I'm going to do is just leave it as is, and I'm going to go Command-Shift-E, and we're going to take a quick preview and see exactly what this offers. And as you can see out of the box, you know, it's nice, beautiful, has all of the right features inside of it, and when you click, it opens up into a Lightbox, and then of course you can navigate out any way you see fit. Okay, also just taking a quick peek, let's see if I can get to the right edge here real quick. There we go. And you can see that of course it's fully responsive, right? So we are working off of a 960 fluid breakpoint in our example. So as you can see here, so that's just showing that, you know, it's fully fluid responsive as well. So just to give you an example of what else this could look like, let's just actually move this down like so, and let's copy and paste to make another one. And I'm just going to make this one a little wider and a little longer, something like that. So what I'm trying to illustrate here, is that you can resize the page widget any way that you want. So for example, you could have one small, one bigger, and just kind of stack them around. And then of course, as you know, they are responsive, you can see that they're automatically resizing as you go down the page, just like so. So you know, you can line them up however you see fit, and they fill the entire space of the resized widget. Now, the reason I'm pointing that out is because Spark Pages does offer a self-embed, meaning you may think to yourself, why do I need this widget if Spark Embed lets me just embed it directly? Well, the reason being is because if you use their embed, you have very limited resizing capabilities, such as, for example, it won't fill the entire container. It'll kind of stick more of a size that looks a little something like that. About that size. So no matter what you do, you scale it up or down, it will always stay in that dimension and it'll never adjust, whereas in our case it fills everything. Okay, so that's option number one. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that out, leave that one alone, and I'm going to come to this one over here, and I'm just going to adjust this one to be inline. And so what this one does is, instead of it creating this nice card view with a Lightbox, it actually embeds in the actual page directly into your Muse page. So I'm going to do Command-Shift-E here. Okay, so as you can see, this one Lightboxes, just like we showed a while ago, but this one is the actual web page embedded in. So that's another option for you as well. And again, just, you know, citing on you know, showing that it's fully responsive. As you can see, as you're scaling up and down, it's actually even scaling inside that window, which is pretty spectacular if you ask me. Okay, so now let's go back and take one final look at, I'm just going to delete this one, and I'm going to take this one, and I am going to move it just below my header. So let's imagine that I have a logo up here and some navigation. something like that. And then I'll scale this one all the way out to the right here, just like that. Now, one thing I will point out is if you wanted to go this route, and let's say that you had a footer, maybe let's just expand our page a little bit more, bring this down here, and then you again have a footer here and a header up here. If we go Command-Shift-E on this example, you can see that it's now going to work inline in the page. My footer would still be present as well as my header at the top. So again, man, this is really a nice way of going at it. Now, if you do want to go full page option though, that is of course what we'll show next, which is I can, in my settings panel, choose full page. Now you may think, well, it didn't really change, it looks pretty much the same. Actually, it changed entirely because now it's going to consume, up here at the top it'll be fine, it'll leave all this intact, but it's actually going to overwrite the footer and so on and so forth. So there's my header at the top, but notice that there is no footer anymore because it's actually consuming up the rest of the page. Now, the just one more small adjustment to that is I could take this and just move it all the way to the top, and then of course, just move my page down like so, resize, or do Command-Shift-E again, and of course now it's fully resized inside the entire browser space. Again, this is just a preview inside of Muse, but the Adobe Spark page is consuming up the entire viewport across the board. No, you will not be able to include any other content from Muse on this page. If you wanted to do that, of course, what you would need to do is come back, maybe move this down so your header's intact, come over here and go inline instead, and then maybe shrink it down a little bit, I don't know, something along those lines, Command-Shift-E, and then now you have the rest of your page content, again, below and all of that stuff, sorry about that, below and all of that, still mimics like the rest of your page. So for example, I could have this scrollable here in the middle telling a story, and I could also come down here and I'll just add some more page section to the bottom just to kind of like show that it can be taller, and then I will grab a rectangle, just something to fill the space up. It's nothing, this is nothing in particular, and then just give it some weird color here, and then do a Command-Shift-E to show that here's my page. Yeah, it's scrolling in line here, but then I can also scroll the rest of my page as well. So it, creates an opportunity for you to tell a story in line. Okay, so now that you have an overview of the 3 various options that you can choose to install your Spark page, let's actually go get your page ID, or in my case, go get my page ID, so that way we can embed it in. Okay, so here we are on my Spark dashboard, Spark page dashboard. So you just go to https://spark.adobe.com, and what you'll be brought to is your dashboard, and if not, you can, or your projects list. And if not, you can go to your projects list by just clicking this link right up here. Now, in my projects list, I have 2 pages. This is the one that I created if you watched my example of how to create your first Adobe Spark page. This is, of course, the one that I created. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply open this one up. So now you'll see my Spark page, and I'm going to go to Share. Okay, now you can see my link right here, but if you haven't published your page yet, you'll see an alert at the top that says, hey, your page needs to be published. Well, I tell you what, as a matter of fact, I'll just go make a quick adjustment and go from there. So after spending 5 days in the Rockies, again, I'll just make one small change. Okay, so now that I've made that small change, I go to Share, and you'll see that it says, oh, it looks like you've made changes, update your link. So I'm going to click Update Link. Now, it's updating the same link that has already been created, so it's not like you have to go, like, anytime you want to go make changes to your Spark page, you have to go update the reference to it. No, it's the same link every time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here just like so. Well, try to select that, but as you can see, it automatically selects the entire thing, and I'm going to copy that. And then I'm going to go over to Muse, and I'm going to open up my settings panel and go to Spark Page ID. Now, what you're going to see me do is I'm going to paste my whole URL address in there because that's the way that it is. And at the very end of the URL is a slash. We're going to remove that, simply delete that, and then we're going to come to in front of this slash and just delete everything on the back side of that code. That is your Spark Page ID. So now I'm going to select that, and now I'm going to get my Spark page embedded in. So So let's just see what it looks like. Let's go Command-Shift-E. Oops, get off my settings panel. Command-Shift-E. And there you go. It loaded in my Spark page, right? Which is nice and beautiful and amazing. So I can actually see this photography. It's a really nice slideshow, a really nice photo gallery example that's just so easy to create, so easy to manage, and it creates a really nice user experience to tell in my case, mountain adventure story. So guys, that's how you download the widget, how you install the widget, how you get the widget put onto your Adobe Muse web page, and then how you swap out the Adobe Spark page for your own page that you create on your own.